lived, much have I lived, since 1948, the life of a dedicated Catholic priest. I believe precisely in the Church of Christ, and also was committed to following the lead given by the authorities in the Church, and I agreed to the spiritual significance of the organization of the Church itself. Much have I been told in universities, lectures, and have accepted both the theology, the organisation, and the liturgy. But recently I heard the true message of John Henry Newman. He uncovered the real church, its real, the reality of he asked 3 questions which I had never asked before. He questioned the theology of the Catholic Church. He questioned the authority as exercised by the present leaders in the Church. And he wanted to reveal the real Church, the real doctrines, and the real life of authority that they had been given by Christ. The model he took for theology was the witness given by the mother of Jesus to the life of Jesus, from the very beginning to the very end, and finally to Pentecost. She was there. She knew what was going on. She told Luke in a very intimate interview what really was meant by the life, the actions, and the circumstances, and the teaching of her son. One of the striking features she must have told those confused apostles on the day of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came upon her and the apostles, she must have told them that he had built his life in obedience to his Father. He had lived his life, and throughout his life he had told his mother what it meant. She had become, for the apostles in that room at Pentecost, she had become the model of all theologians, the model of all teachers about Jesus, and the model of all the way, the truth, and the light. She knew that he had built a church not as an organization, not as an authority, not as a worship community. He didn't wish, intend, plan to create a new religion. He taught those apostles how to be good Jews. He taught those Gentiles how to be good Gentiles. He taught those Romans how to be good Romans. She taught them to, this precious gift you have been given, and nobody was going to be, in her eyes, the boss. Nobody was going to be the authority. Nobody was going to lay down the law. That was not in the mandate of Jesus. His mandate was, this is what my life is. I want you to go into all the world and tell the people so that they can lead them to the Father. He didn't say this is the organisation you have to have. The organisation you decide upon, it's in your hands. It is not given as a foundation stone. When he said build my church, he didn't mean build it on a particular stone out of bricks and mortar. He meant build it on the character, the personality, and the reality of his life. So that when we look at the structure of the church and the organisation and the authority, we must always say which bit is from Jesus and which bit is from the apostles and their successors. In this way we have a template, we have the clue to what the way is, to what he wants us to do. He actually, as John Henry Newman says, he built into the church this blend of humanity and divinity, the harmony of the two, and he wanted it to continue like that the church would be run in human way and yet carry the divine message. When we look at the church then, and we look at the theology and the organisation and the authority and the laws and all the paraphernalia of government and all the dressing up and down of all the authorities of the councils and the authority of the congregations in the Vatican and of the activities of the nuncios in countries and the activities of bishops and priests, and we must distinguish between what is divine and what is human. And Newman formulates three principles. He says, as regards theology, the danger is if it is exaggerated, if it is not controlled, if it is not faithful to the reality of Christ, then theology tends to rationalism. Liturgy, if it doesn't follow the insights of the gospel, if it doesn't follow the reality of the people, if it doesn't follow the design of Christ, then liturgy tends towards superstition. And the third question he wanted to ask was, the authority in the church shares in this divine human harmony. Authority let loose in this world of humanity, of men and women, it tends towards dictatorship, towards tyranny. Now, if we look at the history of the church, since the death of Cardinal Newman, we find that there has been a riot of development. Theology has developed